Welcome back. You got Will and Iman here from the Block Runner, and today we're going to be talking about some items in crypto that we think you should be paying attention to.
Wow. In other words, be bullish.
Bullish, yes.
Why is crypto all of a sudden feeling bullish? Well, there's like new things happening. So yeah, it's new things, but actually things we've already been talking about, right? The new meta trend is, RWAs, stock tokens, commodities making it on chain, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've been focusing our emphasis around Robinhood for obvious reasons, like that's like the RWA chain, but we're seeing some evidences of trickling about, starting to spillage onto Solana.
Yeah.
Which we were questioning is like, when is that going to happen? Because if you look at the actual comparison of which chains have the most like stock tokens on them, Solana is beating everyone by far.
Like a 10x?
Like 20.
20x. Damn.
Yeah. So it's like, if there's that much more like depth of stock token liquidity on Solana, like where are the builders at?
Yeah, right? That is weird, right?
Yeah. So somebody finally noticed.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that.
All right, but first we're going to be talking about TokenWorks. It says external buys of FWA token are now enabled. You couldn't buy this before. You had to interact with the gotcha mechanic in order to swap that asset that you pulled into the tokens. But now you can buy it, and it says purchases from the protocol will be briefly paused for less than 5 minutes. And but wait a minute.
Yeah, that don't look good.
That doesn't look good, right? So it went as high as 3 million, and it got as low as 7 million. What transpired over, 6 days here, 7 days?
It's really the last couple of days where things got really interesting because it was like maintaining like a level correction, but those last two red candles kind of like tell a different story. Like something happened that really, disrupted the sentiment around this project.
Yeah, so let's hear from the man himself. He puts out a tweet. He says, these sections of the docs have not changed since a week before launch. He says, yes.
I could vouch. I was reading those docs a week before launch.
Yeah.
And nothing changed.
Right. It says, yes, TokenWorks makes money. I'm personally of the belief that if you build an innovative product, you should be rewarded, just as traders do. The goal is to move future incoming fees starting tomorrow from going to TokenWorks to the token and make a sustainable protocol. So I'm assuming people saw this tweet and they're like, what do you mean that you're not buying the underlying token?
Well, the plan was always like, we will.
Yeah.
But initially, we were not going to, right? Because, we're slurping all of that ourselves. Just now, it wasn't like explicitly stated why, like, what are you going to use the funds for, whatever, right? But because all of that wasn't like, explicitly stated in tweets, it was all in the docs. I guess people were interacting with the protocol, assuming, some of this was already like accruing buyback coffers, if you will, like a treasury that's like ready to buy FWA token, like once it's purchasable externally. So that wasn't the case, and it upset a lot of people. Right?
Yeah. All right, let's continue on here. Adam says next steps are deploying the buyback contract for 30% of TokenWorks fees in the initial period, which is 327 ETH.
So that's him like throwing a bone, right? So he's saying like 30% of what they've made so far is actually going to go.
Yeah, so it says fees in the initial period.
And he has like a figure there, so that must be 30% of like the collective fees they've generated.
Huh, okay.
So I think that's like him reading the room. Where he's like, okay, clearly your community, the market, whatever, isn't like okay with you keeping.
Yeah, so this is a tweet today.
Fees. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, and then the step after that is what?
Number go up.
No. You got to go back and read the tweet.
Oh, it says, then the future fee buybacks displaying exactly where the bot tokens go and how much each participant can claim each day based on their interactions.
Yeah. So essentially much more, I guess, transparency behind like where all the fees are going. But this is an important aspect, I guess, to the whole experiment, right? Because clearly the machine works, and it's a good thing. People enjoy depositing their funds into this thing for the chance at receiving, something of lesser or higher value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's pretty self-explanatory, right? That's a very common behavior on Earth.
Yeah, so if you don't know what we're talking about, FWA, we did a video on these guys, and we explained the mechanic. It's a gotcha mechanic, and it's a decentralized gotcha mechanic, first time ever.
Yeah, where people essentially individually become depositors of the rewards, and they back the capital value of that, and they receive the revenue or portions of the revenue for providing that service, right?
Yeah, and if you don't know what gacha is, I think it's probably like visually explained as like that quarter machine where you have those little balls. Put in a quarter, you twist the thing, and the little ball comes out.
Yeah.
That's like a version of a gacha mechanic.
Correct. So in this case, what's in the balls? They're various NFTs.
Yeah.
One could be
Worth 100,000, or another one could be worth $50.
Yeah, so if you put in $100 and you get the $50 ball, you're pissed.
Yeah.
But at least you get to instantly sell that thing for most of its value, so you get some money back, right? And that is the whole mechanism here. That's the breakthrough innovation that gives FWA some credibility. And but still, the token is a token, right? So what's gonna keep the token going up forever, right? If there ever was a token that figured that out, it's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
There really hasn't been one other than Bitcoin to figure that out.
Correct.
Right. So what's it going to be? It's buy pressure. If more people keep spending money on this machine, that means we could buy more FWA off the market. Mm-hmm. Should send the token higher. Right. So we'll see. That's the stage we've just entered as of an hour ago, once external buys have begun.
Yeah. All right, so that was FWA. Let's talk about Stonkbrokers. We just interviewed Simple Farmer, the creator of Stonkbroker.
Yeah.
And that video will be out this coming Saturday, so make sure you tune in and watch it. And it says, did Stonkbroker found the secret sauce for the up-only technology?
Found the secret sauce. Yeah, find. But yeah, that's a great question. I mean, from the context of Robinhood projects, there isn't another one that looks like this, right? So this is definitely an anomaly so far. I mean, obviously, this is crypto. This could go the other way at any moment and look like another total failure. But we talked to the guy firsthand. He's
really smart.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
He has the right pedigree of experience, and he has the right pedigree of know-how, understanding the culture of crypto and all that. He's got the Yuga Labs backing.
Yeah.
So that he's got a really good chance here of continuing this success.
Yeah.
So definitely watch that. He did talk a little bit about this new product that they introduced. It's basically a gotcha for stock certificates, right?
Yeah, it's called BrokerBox. It's finally online, and once again, Simple Farmer has introduced something I've never seen before. It's not just a loot box. It's simply a gotcha. It's not simply a gotcha. It's an on-chain machine combining tokenized real-world assets, fully on-chain NFTs, verifiable randomness, instant liquidity, collectibles, and additional fees for the stockbroker flywheel. BrokerBox is divided into two different modes, but connected to the same stock certificate collection, the certificate counter. This is the simple, non-random mode. You choose one of the 24 supported Robinhood chain stocks, select the amount you want to invest, and purchase the asset directly. And so he drops an alpha in the podcast that you're going to have to watch in relation to this. Is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was very thankful for that.
Yeah.
It's cool to have people on and actually for your audience, I'll let them know of what's coming ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a long, obviously. So there's a lot, obviously, cooking. Simple Farmer, he's a talented lad, right?
Yeah, he's quite the chef.
Yeah, he's up there with Benny in his execution abilities, right? He could deliver quick, at a rapid pace, right? So definitely continue to keep an eye on that project.
Yeah, so we're looking at Uniswap, and with a countdown starts now.
And a little frog, dude. Another one. Frogs are everywhere in crypto. We love them. Pepe's our best bro. But we got a new frog in town. Nobody knows what the fuck we're counting down for, but there's some hints, right?
Yeah.
Along the way.
All right, so this is Pools.Trade.
This is the website, and this is what you're looking at for the next 19 hours. It's just a frog, dude.
Yeah.
So who's this frog? So people have been breaking it down.
Yeah, let's see here. All right, we got summary on FRONG.
Yeah, it's not just a frog. It's a FRONG.
Yeah, so Zach, Uniswap product designer, verifiably uploads the FRONG.mp4 video on Amazon S3 Bucket, hosting assets for the landing page of the upcoming Pools.Trade. Trenchers see the frog, has a name given by the title of the video file. Dozens of tickers are launched by randoms. Zach verifiably launches FRONG on Pools.Trade and Launchpad himself, tracing back to his ENS and also including social links to his X account within the launch transaction. PvP ends. Hayden, founder of Uniswap, tweets frog emoji, shortly thereafter in response to the question, and what is Pools.Trade, and then what's next for the unofficial but de facto mascot of the imminent Launchpad from the DEX on Robinhood chain, generating $5 billion in volume in July with a platform token Uni that's up nearly 2x in the past 45 days.
Yeah, so the market's reacting, and they're formulating a thesis here, which has been growing in strength. I've been tracking this for the last few days, and the market cap obviously has been growing. That is your signal to whether or not more and more people are in a consensus around this idea, but it hasn't been fully verified by the Uniswap team, even still.
Yeah.
Perhaps at the 19-hour from now mark, there will be full clarification of, like, who is this FRONG?
It's interesting to launch a token before the actual Launchpad is there to interact with, but
yeah, but Uniswap would do some shit like this, right? Because in order to do stuff like that, it's to build like the necessary lore behind a coin.
Yeah.
Why? Because they want everybody who deploys a Launchpad needs a runner of a coin, right? So let's kind of like throw some mystery lore around this FRONG, right?
Yeah, which is right now sitting at almost 8 million market cap.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's been it launched July 30th.
Yeah, so this is on Robinhood. So if this is all true, Uniswap is imminently about to enter its name into the Robinhood Launchpad race. I mean, I feel like that's a big deal.
Yeah, that is a big deal.
I don't think they've ever had a Launchpad before, have they?
No.
They've only been like dexing up until now.
Yeah, so diversifying their income.
Yeah.
All right, so Stonkfun.xyz.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about earlier. This is the spillage that we're starting to witness. So this looks familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Remember long.xyz?
Yep.
Basically the exact same interface, but on Robinhood, but there was like a small caveat of a difference, right?
But this is on Solana.
Yeah, that's the big difference.
Yeah.
It's long, but on Solana. But the issue I think Long had is they didn't implement like the flywheel mechanism where like a coin's trading volume generates that redistribution of stock tokens. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was simply a launchpad to launch meme coins paired to the stock token, right? Like, so it was kind of like missing a fundamental ingredient, I guess, that the degens are looking for.
Yeah.
Evidenced by Stonkbrokers and Index and other things like that. Like, people want to degen and receive exposure to stocks. Clearly.
Yeah.
That's becoming like the de facto trend.
Yeah.
So somebody did the analysis, like, hold on a minute, there's 25x the value of stock tokens on Solana, but nobody has, provided any kind of a launch surface to like tap into that. So
yeah, here we are.
that's what we're looking at right now.
All right. It says Stonkfun. You can now track total platform rewards on the rewards page. $85,000 distributed thus far. 2,000 holder payouts. Track the top coins here.
Yeah, so this is it. Click on that image. This is what it looks like. There's meme coins on the left,
mm-hmm.
and then they're paired, I guess, RWA distributed value to the meme coin. So Froge is number one. Another fucking frog, dude.
Yeah. Froge.
Not Frong this time, but Froge. But
so it's doing distributions of Froge, and then there's the actual token.
Well, no, they're doing distributions of OpenAI to people who own Froge.
Oh, I see.
Why? What the fuck does a frog have to do with OpenAI?
OpenAI. So that's the asset that is not like publicly available yet.
It's true.
Huh.
Yeah. What the hell are these?
Well, those are like derivatives from Robinhood.
They have OpenAI pools on Robinhood too, right?
Yeah, I think they do because that came from Robinhood.
Yeah, so maybe they bridged him over from Robinhood to
Yeah,
Solana.
but I could see this also being on Solana. So I mean, it's interesting.
Well, Vlad said so. Remember that
conference
he had where he looked like a Batman villain?
Yeah.
He was talking about he's like, we have OpenAI shares before all of you guys do.
Yeah, and so we're gonna tokenize it.
Yeah,
and he gave out OpenAI shares to the people in the conference.
That's right. But didn't he get some real pushback for that?
He did
From Sam?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a deeper story here. I don't know. So that's something we need to look into as far as like the legitimacy behind these OpenAI equity tokens.
Yeah.
Because that's doesn't even exist. It's not even like a publicly traded company yet. So there may be a discrepancy here.
They have shares, so they tokenize it. So yeah, I don't think
It's just
you can do that.
establishing the origin of these shares. Where are they coming from, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because if you can't make that connection, then this might actually be totally fraudulent, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah,
You got to look into it.
Always got to do due diligence.
Right. So FROG token is at, what is that? Hold on, let me zoom in. 1.2 million market cap.
Yeah, it's FROG. But nonetheless, this is happening on Robinhood. Not for existing companies, right? Like, most of the main coins that are paired to anything are typically paired to Nvidia.
Yeah.
That's like the highest, deepest liquidity stock token on chain at the moment, for obvious reasons, right? It's like the highest worth company on earth.
Yeah, and Stonkfun.xyz is trading on Radium.
So this one's paired to SPY.
SPY.
So you can assume this is the platform token, right? And then they chose like the most boomer of.
Yeah, only go up technology for at least 100 years.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Like when a meme coin is paired to something like the SPY, it's definitely like more stable, right? If it was paired to something like GameStop, which is much more volatile.
Sure, it is more stable, absolutely. So yeah, you could just swap back and now you have SPY.
Yeah, but like if it's paired to GameStop, there's actual downside trade-offs to being paired to like a volatile stock like that. Like meaning if GameStop goes down, which it did, went down like 15% yesterday.
Yep.
That has a negative effect on the coin itself, right?
It would, yes. There's an imbalance in the pool.
Yeah, so that could drive down the cost of your meme coin that's paired to it. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Being paired to something as
stable.
boring as the SPY.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you're looking at here.
All right. We talked about Stonkfun.xyz, FRONG, and FWA, and Stonkbrokers.
So yeah,
that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's clear. If you haven't understood what's going on yet, guys, it's like,
yeah, this is it.
We can only do so much.
Stop doom scrolling. You don't need to doom scroll. Just watch this video, and you got everything that you need.
Right, and like understand why it's such a big deal. Equities and RWAs coming on chain, like why that matters. All you gotta do is do a simple analysis of how much value is out there, off chain, and how much of that can be brought on chain.
Yeah.
And then just trying to identify builders and, in the ecosystem who are
doing something about it.
Yes, actively trying to port over some of that into our arena and then figure out why and whether or not it's likely to succeed. That's what we're doing on this channel. And hopefully it all works out, right?
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, if you have any questions on any of the projects we talked about today, let us know in the comment section below. I appreciate you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.